We are here with Colin Dillon, and this is a one take. So if we make a mistake, don't worry about it. We'll just keep going. So Colin Dillon is the first Indigenous police officer man in Australia, 1965, and he worked for over 40 years in the police department, and obtained a pretty high position.
Yeah,
right?
the rank of inspector, commissioner.
Rank of inspector.
Yeah, got the commissioner rank.
Nice. So I'm just going to have Colin, or Cole, as he likes to be called, explain a little bit about himself. And so, Cole, if you want to introduce yourself to the Backpacker Mike family here.
Yeah, sure. Mike, Colin Dillon. I joined the police force, as it was then. It was called Police Force, Queensland Police Force, back in 1965. 31st of March 1965, I swore an oath to enter the ranks of the Queensland Police Force and to uphold the laws of the land. So, yeah. And I went on from there to serve almost 40 years, 4 decades in the police force, and attaining the rank of inspector, commission rank. I got to the rank of inspector prior to my retirement.
Wow, that's amazing. And so Cole has a book out called Code of Silence.
Code of Silence, that's correct, yes. Code of Silence it covers my career in the police force, and it highlights, I suppose, for me, one of the most turbulent parts of my career back in the 80s when the government established a commission of inquiry to investigate alleged corruption in the state of Queensland. The Commissioner Tony Fitzgerald made an appeal, a public appeal, for any honest police to come forward and tell what they knew of any corruption within the Queensland Police Force. His appeal was to no avail. He never got one response, which threatened the inquiry. It was on the verge of closing down after only running for a couple of weeks. Unbeknown to Fitzgerald was that they had me waiting in the wings, so to speak. Right. I'd come forward voluntarily to the inquiry. The investigators there, I approached them and told them that I'd worked in a section called the licensing branch, which in effect is the vice squad.
Oh, okay.
But Queensland government would never allow the use of the term vice squad in Queensland, because they always maintained that there was no such thing in Queensland. There was no vice in Queensland at all. Right. So it was known as the licensing branch. But I'd approached them and said, well, look, I said I'd worked there for a couple of years, and I saw quite a bit in that time. I had responsibilities as a supervisor, supervising junior staff and so forth, many of whom fell into the trap, into the pitfall of taking bribes and so forth, and protecting those that were running the gambling, prostitution, drugs and all that sort of stuff. Right. So I had first-hand knowledge of that. I couldn't have done anything about it at the time when I'd seen it, because that would have been the end of me. But yeah, I waited and hoped, never knowing that one day that there would be a commission of inquiry, but I waited in hopes that if there ever was, I'd made up my mind that I would come forward and tell what I'd know to try and assist in cleaning up our state with the corruption that had prevailed over many decades. Yeah.
And all of that is what sort of culminated to the book?
Eventually, yes. Yeah. After I'd many years after I retired, I had a lot of friends, many journalists and so forth, said that you should, as a part of our state's history, you should think about writing a book. And it had never ever occurred to me that I should write a book. I didn't think that I had much to give in the way, but they kept at me, and I finally succumbed, and I started to make notes and so forth, and hence I eventually managed to produce the book, which I call Code of Silence.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah. And I read the bio on the book. I have not read the book yet, but I will. The bio of the book is very interesting. It had to have taken a lot of courage and determination in order to step out and sort of bring the information you had forward.
Mike, I've got to say that it could have well cost me my life. I had many death threats, and the sad part about I before going forward, I was trying to calculate in my mind how the risk would be, what would be the response from within within the police force, right. And I was wondering whether or not what support I would get, my family and so forth. Well, I can tell you, I got zilch.
Yeah.
Zero. I got no help whatsoever.
It's that blue line, they say.
Yes, my wife and my children, we were left by ourselves to fend for ourselves, and as I say, I had death threats, phone calls, and that threatening to get rid of me. And of course, when I reported to my superiors, they weren't interested. And as a matter of fact, they were hoping so soon I got wiped out the better.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because
you can imagine.
Back then, I mean, many of the senior, the hierarchy had over many years been involved. They've been the architects of the system of corruption that had prevailed over many years, and going back many decades.
Yeah. Before
I was born.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, but anyway, as I say, initially when Fitzgerald made the call, he got no response, and two lawyers that came to me who I'd spoke to initially about wanting to go for voluntarily, they said, listen, they said, we need to put you on the stand now, because otherwise, without your evidence, they said, this thing is going to shut down. Mm-hmm. That's how vital your evidence is. So yeah. I went in there, and instead of running for about 6 weeks as they had thought it would and hoped that it would, it ran for 2 years.
Wow, 2 years.
2 years.
So 2 years you had to put up with all of the...
Yeah, absolutely.
Everything.
Everything, and it was the first time that the state of Queensland knew anything about reform.
Right.
The Fitzgerald Inquiry made way and brought in reform, which changed the whole way of life for a lot of decent Queenslanders.
Yeah. Now, the one question that I wanted to ask too was, being an Aboriginal or Indigenous, the first opportunity that they gave to the Indigenous people or Aboriginals to get onto the police department, what was your reasoning, or what drove you to do that?
Michael, just let me, I've got to put this part straight on the record.
Yeah.
The police department did not open the doorway for any Aboriginals to come in.
Oh, okay.
Yep. That was done of my own volition, and was a boyhood dream that I, from the age of 4 or 5 years of age, that I thought one day I'd like to be a police officer.
So you live your dreams.
I set my sight on that goal, and I never deviated. I just bided my time until I got to a stage where I could join. And I honestly thought back then, I mean, I was in my early 20s, I was very naive. I pretty much had lived a sheltered life. I didn't know, didn't fully understand what I was letting myself in for. By being Indigenous, I didn't know that I would be the first to enter the Queensland Police Force. And when I made that initial step, a fellow came to me one night on staff. This is when I was doing my initial training. I was in in the
police
barracks.
academy.
Yeah, no, it was, they never had the academy then.
Oh, okay.
So the old police barracks,
Okay.
Petrie Terrace. He came to me one night. He said, "Look," he said, "I've got to tell you something." He said, "In all fairness to you," he said, "I don't know whether you know or not." He said, "But," he said, "they're talking in here. This is the bosses about the fact that they do not want any Aboriginals in the police force."
Yeah.
He said, "So," he said, "I just want to let you know." He said, "This is what you're facing and so forth."
Right.
He
So you
told
were
me that-
breaking barriers.
yeah. Well, I didn't
Literally
rea-
breaking
Yeah,
barriers.
well, I didn't. I thought there would have been others before me.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
You didn't know at the time that you.
I
were,
didn't know.
yeah.
No, I didn't know at the time. I thought there'd be others intakes before me, and I'd eventually catch up with and have mates in there. I didn't realise that I was the first to break
Yeah.
the barrier.
Break the barrier.
Break the barrier,
Yeah, really.
and when I realised that, that caused me a lot of angst, and I thought to myself, what am I doing? What am I letting myself in for? What will the future hold for me if I'm the first to come through there, and they do not want Aboriginals in the police
Right.
force? Yep. So,
But you had that determination to live your dream.
well, I can't.
being
I can tell you, I was very much faltering in deciding whether or not I should go over the wall at night and leave in the middle of the night. No.
Yeah.
And then
No.
I thought to myself, well, hey, this is what I've wanted all my life. I've got this vow, I've held this dream right up to this stage, and I've got through the gates. I'm in here. I'm going to stay,
Yeah.
and stay I did. So,
You stuck
and
it
then
out. That is
I,
awesome.
hung
That is
in there
awesome.
for almost another 40 years.
Yeah, that's awesome. I too, I know I spoke to you briefly, but I love that you tied that was your dream in there, because my dream was to travel the world
Yep,
and
sure.
experience new cultures, and many of the people who follow me know that. And I just decided one day that I was just going to sacrifice everything and live my dream of
Right.
traveling the world and meeting amazing people like yourself. And so, yeah, living a dream, I can't express how much it means to live your dreams. And
Absolutely.
He's living proof of that also.
It is, Michael. Yeah, and I just admire people who have that determination within to set their goals in life and pursue them until they bring them fully to fruition. I think that's great.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
there's nothing like living your dream. I can't explain the.
Absolutely. Yep.
It's hard to put into words what it
Yeah,
feels like
yeah.
when you actually do it, and
Well-
and especially when you go through trials and tribulations and sacrifices to get there. It just
Sure.
makes it that much more.
I look where I come from, and I do. I come from very humble beginnings. I had wonderful parents, but come from very humble beginnings. And I just stop and look to where I got to. I climbed that mountain.
Yeah.
I got to the very peak. I
Yeah.
stuck the flag in and
Exactly.
said, "I'll stay here." And they just they tried. They put a lot of pressure on to force me out. I said no. I said when I leave, I'll leave in my own
Yeah.
time,
It's
and
my
on my
dream.
own and on my own terms. Which
Yeah.
I did.
That's amazing. So I'll put a link to the to his book in the comment section below or above the video, and so I encourage you guys to check it out. I think it's somewhere between $10 and $18 online on Amazon or Bookopedia
Yeah.
or
QPD,
QPD,
yeah.
Queensland
A book department. Yeah.
Book Department. So yeah, please, I encourage you to get the book and read about this amazing man's story. This is just a brief snippet of what he's done in his life, and I'm very privileged to have you here with me, and I really appreciate it. Thank you much, Colin.
Thank you, Mark.
And or Cole.
Oh.
And there's one thing. It's my tagline. I forgot to tell you this previously, but it's my tagline where I say, "Let's experience the world together."
Yes.
So that's my tagline. So if you could say that with me on 3, and we'll do that. Okay. So 1, 2, 3. Let's experience the world together. Thank you, Cole. Appreciate it. That was awesome.
Yeah,